Hello, and welcome back to another video. I don't know if you can tell, but the water in the background is 50 times louder than it used to be. I gotta refill that tank. It's getting a little low. It's tomorrow's chore. Today I've been a little busy trying to connect to the TV. Yeah, we're trying to fix our TV again. So, that's fun. It is late again. But this time I really need to get recordings done, because the 29th and 30th I'm gonna be a little busy. My brother's being born on the 29th. And, kids can't be in the hospital, so me and my sister can be in the hospital with my parents, and they're gonna have to stay there for a day because of she has gestational diabetes, or whatever it's called when you get pregnant and then you get diabetes. So they need to be able to check the kid, make sure numbers are good, and they gotta stay there for a day. I gotta check for 24 hours, which means I'll be at home with my 4-year-old sister those 2 days, and I won't have any time to record. I'll get home later in the day, and then I want to spend time with my brother, so I want to get the 29th and 30th recordings done. So that's going to be a couple days. I'll probably get those done tomorrow, to be completely honest. I'm going to try and get today, 26th and the 27th recordings done today. Tomorrow will be 28th, 29th, then I'll do 30 and the 1st. Alright? March does have a 30th, right? Never mind. Don't count me on my stupidity. If it's not, it's the 1st of April. It does have a 30th. Totally has a 30th. It's got a 30th. Maybe even a 31st. I'll check later. I'm going to do chapter 15 right now. Then I'll do another video that'll be chapter 16, because I'm pretty sure it goes chapter 16. Unless that's the start of season 3, which I doubt. I don't think it is. It might be. We'll find out in the next video. I watched a show with an accent, and I've been trying to copy that accent all day for some reason. It's kind of starting to get on my nerves that I can't stop myself from copying that accent. So if I halfway through start talking more southern than I normally do, you know why. So we are reading His Reasons. It's a Todoroki X-Reader fanfic by AshleyH713. I really want to unplug that because it seems much louder than usual, but I don't know if you can hear it. So we are doing season 2, chapter 15. Yeah, let's begin. A couple days after the Hosa incident, Deku, Amari, and Todoroki, let's hope it didn't break, stayed in the hospital for a few more days before finally being sent home. Since then, the boys haven't even mentioned the display they witnessed between Bakugo and his sister. Deku especially felt like he would have been killed if he mentioned the boys' soft side. He wasn't brave enough for that. Bakugo himself couldn't help thinking about the incident as well, stomping down the stairs the following morning and pouring himself a cup of orange juice. He hadn't known Amari his entire life, but even he knew that her behavior at the hospital was abnormal. Something must have really happened in Hosa to have scared her that bad. He couldn't help but still recall her shaking and terrified body underneath him. This was why he didn't want her to be a hero in the first place. It wasn't like he had something against her. Bakugo just didn't want his sister to have to suffer because of something he caused. Her dream was just foolish. Bakugo stopped thinking, though, as Amari descended the steps, putting an uncertain hand to her forehead as she flung her bag over her shoulder. She was wearing her school uniform, which immediately had him on edge. This girl literally was in a hospital bed a couple days ago. Oh, hell no, is she going to school? Hey, brat. What the hell do you think you're doing? God, why can't I read? Looking up to meet him, Amari only sighed, grabbing an apple off the table. Going to school? What do you think I would be doing? To be completely honest, Amari regretted showing her brother her weak side, as now it looked like he was questioning everything she did. She hated being pitied and babied more than anything. Bakugo frowned at that, grabbing the apple out of her hand and placing it back in the bowl roughly. Oh, no, you're not. You were just in a freaking hospital bed, dumbass. Rolling her eyes, Amari only sighed, taking a step forward towards him slowly. Katsuki, I get it if you're worried, but I already told you I'm perfectly fine. The doctor already discharged me, so I'm good. Although Bakugo wasn't too sure, suddenly watched her take a shaky step forward and stumble a tiny bit. Hold on, there was something wrong with her. He knew it. No, you're not. Come here, brat. Then before she could process it, Katsuki shoved his hand to her forehead, gasping at the heat radiating from it. It was clearly a fever. Ah, hell, I was right. You have a fever. This is what happens when you push yourself. Amari groaned at that, shoving his hand off as he started to freak out. A fever was normal, but for someone like his sister, who knows how serious it could be. And it might get even worse, knowing that their parents weren't home either. Fuck, what do I do? Who do I call? We have to get you to the hospital, now. He already started pushing her out the door when Amari groaned again, this time planting her feet on the floor to stop his panic. Whoa, hold on, Katsuki. It's not a big deal. The doctor already said that I might get a fever from the stab wound because of my weak immune system. It's normal. Call Mom if you don't believe me. Bakugo took her advice right away, letting go of the girl's arm and furiously dialing his mother's number on his phone. Damn right I will. Don't you dare move. After a short conversation, Bakugo's mother confirmed what Amari just said was true, while also explaining that she wouldn't be home until later that night. Great, now what was he supposed to do? Out of the corner of his eye, he then saw Amari starting to move towards the door, already putting her shoes on. What the hell was this girl thinking? She needed to stop this. He needed to stop this. Shouting back towards her, Bakugo frowned. Hey, hold on. Where the hell do you think you're going? Don't even think about going to school, dumbass. Although Amari had other plans, standing up before getting a slight dizzy spell. She had never missed a day of school in her life, and she wasn't about to start now. She wouldn't let a stupid cold get the better of her. Of course, that's what she thought before suddenly feeling her small body being hoisted into the air and flung over her brother's shoulder in surprise. Katsuki, what are you doing? Put me down, you jerk. Although Bakugo wouldn't budge, already moving up the steps towards her room. Forget it, that's not happening. Kicking her feet in protest, Amari groaned, already feeling the room around her spin. I swear, Katsuki, just because you're bigger doesn't mean you can treat me like a sack of potatoes. Let me go! Yet again, Bakugo didn't listen, instead throwing her door open and throwing her on the bed. Then he grabbed her heavy comforter and threw it over her face. Hey, stop that! Throwing the blankets off her, she found Bakugo staring at her in frustration, pointing his fingers at her sharply. Listen to me, brat. If you don't stay there, then you can just pack up your things and move out of this house. You don't want that, right? Widening her eyes in fear, Amari felt defeated, slumping back in her bed roughly. She had just gotten over the huge milestone with her brother. She didn't want to go back to step one again. No. Sighing in relief, Katsuki replied, So you'll stay then? Nodding her head slowly, Bakugo finally felt slightly relaxed, stomping out of the room and slamming the door behind him. Good. Now go to bed, damn it. Then before she could reply, he walked away from her, already feeling slightly irritated. Their mother was better at these kinds of things. What was he going to do now? Stomping down the steps, Bakugo looked at the time before groaning to himself. What was it that their mother usually did when he was sick? What even was he supposed to do in this situation? He was by himself. Then he caught the sight of a cookbook in the corner of his eye and recalled the recipe inside of it. Oh, hell no. He was not some housewife in a frilly apron making food. There was no way Amari could just forget it. Although then he recalled her scared expression back at the hospital, and before he could process it, the boy was slamming the cookbook on the counter, muttering to himself in the process, I can't believe I am doing this. He scanned the recipes before settling on a simple rice porridge and angrily slamming the pot on the stove. That brat better appreciate this. Just then the phone next to him began to ring loudly, causing him to raise an eyebrow. Who the hell could that even be? Amari didn't have many friends, he noticed. Moving to the object, Bakugo picked up the object, not bothering to even read the caller ID and just answering it roughly. Who the hell is this? The voice on the other side answered plainly, causing Bakugo to frown. It was that icy hot bastard. Bakugo, why are you answering Amari's phone? Katsuki couldn't help but feel annoyed at this statement, speaking roughly in reply. It's none of your damn business. Stop calling here. Todoroki seemed confused by that, his voice raising in concern. Amari told me to meet her by the front gates, but she hasn't come yet. Do you know where she is? Shaking his head in frustration, Katsuki moved back towards the kitchen and started cooking her food. That brat isn't coming today, so just forget it. There was a slight pause before the other boy responded. Why not? Our internships are over. Rolling his eyes at the boy's stupidity, Katsuki threw open a cabinet sharply. Yeah, dumbass, we know that. She's sick, so she's staying home. You got a problem with that? Now stop asking me stupid questions and shut up already. Then before he could answer, Bakugo ended the call, slamming the object on the table. That guy was so freaking annoying. It wasn't any of his business to know everything. Katsuki couldn't help but still have a sour attitude for the boy after his outburst at the hospital a couple months ago. His sister really had terrible taste. Not really. Ignoring the encounter, Katsuki chose to focus on the food instead, now furiously stirring the pot on the stove. Stewing about that icy hot bastard. He was so infuriating. Moving towards her room with a tray in hand, Bakugo stopped when he saw his sister sweating and sleeping in the bed quietly. Shit, her fever looked worse. Katsuki quickly placed the tray on the side of her table before moving towards Amari, just staring at her weakened form. He couldn't help but recall such terrible memories from which it made his stomach extremely nauseous. It was like he was back to being a kindergartner, sitting by her hospital bed while seeing the tubes and wires in her white, pale skin. Even though that was so long ago, he felt so useless and incompetent. Here he was with all this power and strength, and yet he couldn't save his sister from her condition. Although it seemed like she was better the last couple months, now able to use her quirk and control it. But even though he had physically seen it, Bakugo still had a sickening sensation in his stomach somehow. He just didn't want to go back to seeing her in a hospital bed. Was that so bad? Was that too much to wish for? He stopped thinking, though, when Amari turned her head to the side, opening her eyes and meeting his in a groggy manner. Katsuki, what are you doing? Now feeling slightly embarrassed, he turned his head away quickly. Shut up, brat. I was just seeing if you finally listened to me, or else I was going to kick you out. Blinking in confusion, she replied, Oh. Then she caught the tray of food in the corner, realizing it wasn't there before. Did Mom make that for me? She didn't have to do that. I thought she was working. Bakugo thought for a moment before crossing his arms, roughly picking up the tray. She is working, dumbass. You just had to be sick at the worst possible time, didn't you? You made me waste my goddamn time. Registering his words, Amari gasped, already trying to sit up, but finding the room starting to spin. Oh no. She inconvenienced him. He probably hated her for that. Wait, you made this? I'm sorry. You already had to stay home for me, and now you had to do this. He listened to her apology, now feeling slightly bad for being so harsh. It wasn't her fault that she was sick. Shoving the tray onto her lap, Bakugo only scoffed, not knowing how to apologize. Forget it. You better eat the entire thing, since I had to do this for you, brat. She nodded her head sadly, already picking up the spoon before answering. Thank you anyways. I didn't know you could cook, Katsuki. Rolling his eyes, Bakugo replied, Of course I can. I'm great at everything. Did you forget that? There's nothing. This is nothing for the future number one greatest hero. Amari couldn't help but smile at that, blowing on the hot porridge. I know, I shouldn't be happy about this, but this is the first time I've tasted your cooking. It makes me feel grateful. Widening his eyes at her kindness, Katsuki didn't know how to take her words. What the hell are you even saying? Just shut up and eat already. Smiling to herself, Amari complied, still silently happy about getting to talk with her brother. That was until she remembered her display in the hospital. She really wished he hadn't seen that. She put the spoon down then, staring her bowl sadly. Hey, Katsuki, can we just forget about what happened back in Hosa? Raising a brow at that, Bakugo, recalling her crying face, replied, And why the hell would I do that? Amari started stirring the spoon in her porridge in response, seeming sad. Well, it was kind of embarrassing, and I never wanted you to see me like that. I promise. I was just a little shaken up about encountering that villain. That's all. Her brother listened to her words silently, before wondering why she would want him to forget about her breakdown. Katsuki didn't know for certain, but in that moment he thought for the first time he somehow saw such a raw and untouched side of her. He didn't want to forget that. Shaking his head, Bakugo narrowed his eyes, trying the best to say his feelings. Well, you can forget that, brat. How could I forget something like that? I'm not some kind of pussy, so you don't have to apologize for it. Stupid. Amari just seemed frustrated, though. I know that, but I don't want you to think of me as a pathetic, weak sister who can't do anything and is a crybaby. That's the last thing I want you to think of me. That's the last thing I want you to think of me as. But I guess right now that's pretty accurate, right? You still don't think I can be a hero. Gazing at her sweating exterior, Bakugo thought about her words. He knew better than to think that now. You're damn right about that. But that doesn't mean I think you're a crybaby either. You really don't know how to stop or how to give up before hurting yourself, do you? You don't know when to quit. Amari became slightly embarrassed at this, frowning. Well, you don't either. Why? Slightly a hint of frustration, Bakugou replied. Hey, don't you dare try to turn this around on me. We aren't the same person, Amari, so stop acting like that. It's different with me. And Katsuki truly felt that. He had his strength and training on his side. What did she have? Her determination? That could only get her so far. Shaking her head in frustration, Amari gripped the bowl in annoyance, not liking his words. I know, I'm not as strong or smart or capable as you. But that doesn't mean I can't succeed. My obstacles are just tougher. But that's never going to stop me. So, I'm sorry, Katsuki, but I'll never give up on being a hero. No matter what I have to do, no matter how hard I have to push myself, I will always get back up again. Her speech was impressive, but Bakugou couldn't help but feel worry in the back of his head. Why do you have to be so goddamn stubborn? You could do anything in the world, and yet you still choose to put yourself in these dangerous situations. That's how you got yourself like this. Open your eyes, Amari. Just then, Katsuki slumped down into a chair next to him, staring at her pale features. When you realize that I hate seeing you like this, I don't want to see your stupid face go back to how you were before. Amari raised a brow at that, her tongue sticking to one of the words. Before? Nodding his head, Bakugou thought for a moment before grunting in frustration. He didn't really want to talk to her about this, as it hit a little too close to home, but she wasn't getting it. Yeah, idiot, you know, like when we were kids. Amari tried to figure out what he was saying before it finally clicked. He was talking about when she was on the verge of death and he was forced to visit her as a kid. Katsuki. Watching her eyes fall, he continued. Just shut up and listen, because I'm only going to say this once. Seeing you like this pisses me off, so cut it out already and go back to being that annoying and irritating sister I know. She blinked in surprise at his words, trying to process them slowly. He was being so nice to her. It was weird, although she couldn't deny that she kind of liked it, even though he seemed distressed. Am I burdening you right now? Nodding his head in agreement, Katsuki scoffed. Damn right you are, so hurry up and get better already, stupid. A long pause of silence entered after that, when suddenly the front doorbell began to ring, causing her brother to frown. Who the hell could that be? Standing up from his chair, Bakugou started to move towards the stair, but not before turning to glare at Mari. Don't you dare even think about moving, brat. The girl only nodded her head, though, placing the bowl back onto the tray. Once Katsuki was sure that she wasn't going to move, he descended the steps, only for the doorbell to ring once more. Why was the stranger being so damn impatient? Finally reaching the door, Bakugou grumbled, throwing the object open in a heavy shout. What? Although the face on the other end of the door didn't make him feel any better. It was Todoroki. Why was he standing at his door? Bakugou had already told him to get lost on the phone. Of course it's you, you bastard. Ignoring his tone, Todoroki answered back quickly, already scanning the inside of the house for something. Where is Amari? Is she alright? At his sister's name, Bakugou frowned, realizing he didn't want to deal with this bastard today. So instead of doing so, Katsuki decided to slam the door back in his face. Now walking away. Serves him right. That was until the doorbell rang again. Once, twice, 3 times, before Katsuki became insane, throwing the object back open. What? What the hell do you want, Icy Hot? Although Todoroki didn't seem pleased, repeating his question. I want to see Amari. Rolling his eyes in frustration, Bakugou replied, Too damn bad. She's not available right now. Just go home already and get off my damn doorstep. Bakugou then went to shut the door again when Todoroki's hand stopped him roughly. You said she was sick before. Is she alright? Did you take her to the hospital? I need to see her. Forcing his hand on the door, Bakugou pushed back, clearly annoyed. It's none of your damn business, Icy Hot. Although Todoroki wasn't listening, determined to see Amari and fearing for the worst. Maybe this was really serious and Bakugou just didn't know. Bakugou, please stop being so stubborn. Just then, the both stopped when Amari's small voice rang behind them, leaning against one of the walls for support. After the long wait, she decided to check out exactly who he was talking to. Shoto, what are you doing here? Seeing her leaning, a large feeling of anxiety filled Todoroki's stomach then, rushing over to her. Amari, are you alright? Bakugou told me you were sick. Katsuki didn't seem pleased about either situation, though. Hey, get out of my house. Also, what did I say about staying in bed, brat? Todoroki touched her shoulder lightly, only for her to smile. I'm okay. Katsuki's just overreacting. It's a little fever from my side wound. The doctor said it's normal, given my immune system. He touched the side of her face in response as Bakugou frowned. Great, now you know. Now you can leave. Although he stopped when Amari put her hand to her head to quell an oncoming dizzy spell. Standing for so long wasn't the best idea. Katsuki, please don't start this. Todoroki noticed the action and immediately gasped, feeling her body lean onto his for support. Are you okay? She only nodded her head, though, closing her eyes from the light. Yeah, just a little dizzy. It will pass. Yet the boy wasn't pleased, now gathering her in his arms and carrying the poor girl carefully. Come on, let's get you back to bed. Katsuki stared at his sister, not struggling Todoroki's arms, and sighed. It looked like this was the only way to get her to listen. That bastard was going to have to stay. He was half expecting Bakugo to shout at him for the action, but strangely enough, her brother was quiet, only muttering under his breath. You get a pass today, but that's it. Taking in his words, Todoroki carefully brought her up the stairs before placing her down in her bed, smoothing a piece of hair from her head and smiling under his breath. Then he noticed the empty bowl by her desk. You can cook? Katsuki only scoffed at that, feeling slightly embarrassed that the boy knew it was him. Shut up, half and half. Had her brother really gone through the trouble to make food for Amari when she was sick? Todoroki somehow felt happy by the gesture. At least it showed he really did care underneath all those angry words. There was a heavy silence for a moment or two before Bakugo spoke, seeming slightly uncomfortable. Hey, did that brat say anything about what happened in Hosu? I know she trusts you. Turning to face him, Todoroki only shook his head. She was alone with that hero killer for a while. I have no idea what he may have said to her. At the sound of the events, Bakugo balled his fists, only thinking about his sister facing that terrible and vile villain all alone. He's lucky I wasn't around, or else I would have killed him myself. Todoroki completely believed that, knowing exactly what Bakugo was capable of. Killing is only the action of a villain, Bakugo. We mustn't stoop so low. At least she's safe now. Well, that's what he said, but Todoroki couldn't deny the anger still in the stomach, recalling her shocked and scared face in the alleyway alone. He really wanted to know what happened, but Amari wasn't in the mood for sharing it. It truly made him worry. Katsuki didn't seem to like his response, though, muttering back, this wouldn't have happened if she just gave up on her ridiculous dream of being a hero. Amari groaned in her sleep then, causing the boy to smile under his breath. You don't give her enough credit, Bakugo. Amari is capable of so much more than you think. Katsuki didn't fully understand that bastard's words, but it seemed like they held so much meaning and power to the boy, like there was something he didn't know about. Capable? Don't make me laugh. She's just an idiot. Todoroki closed his eyes in disappointment at that, taking in his harsh words. Says the boy who doesn't even know he's being protected by his sister. Amari's brother's eyes widened at the remark, not liking the idea. What the hell does that even mean? Although the boy only sighed in response, standing from his chair. It's not my place to tell you. Just know that Amari really admires you as a brother. She only does things because of you, Bakugo. Bakugo took in his declaration and frowned, standing up in a challenge as well. What the hell was that bastard saying? There's no way Amari's reckless and dangerous behavior was because of him. He couldn't have something else become his fault. Slightly fearing the words, he spoke against Todoroki. Are you saying this is my fault? That the reason she's sick right now is my fault? Screw you, bastard. Although Todoroki only sighed, shaking his head. That wasn't my intention. I just wanted you to understand how she thinks. Amari's afraid to confide in you because she thinks you'll reject her. She wants to be strong for you. Bakugo seemed confused by his statement, recalling his sister asking to forget about her moment of weakness in the hospital, and then still trying to go to school regardless of her condition. Was that because she didn't want to seem weak to him? What other times had she tried to do that? Shaking his head in frustration, Katsuki replied, What nonsense are you speaking, bastard? Although, Todoroki only answered back plainly, eyeing Amari softly. Whether you think it's nonsense or not, it's up to you, Bakugo. I just don't want her to suffer anymore. I assume we are in the same position? Staring back towards his sister, Katsuki realized that for the first time, he agreed with Todoroki. He didn't want her to suffer. Alright, we're going to end it here. I'm going to record another video. I'm going to post them doing a scheduling thing, which is really cool. I can schedule a video so I don't have to come back that day and post it. Super cool. You should check her out. She's a good writer. I can't wait to read the next part because I want to know what happens. I might unplug that water thing. I don't know. It's really loud. I'll have to go back and check the video to see if you guys can even hear it. And if so, well, I don't care. Yeah, okay. We're gonna end the video here. I'm gonna start another one. You will hear me in that one that I'm about to start on the 27th. You won't hear this one on the 26th, so don't worry about it. It's good. You will hear me in the next video. Bye-bye.